Hi, my name is Desiree Gaffley. I'm a health and mindset coach. I'm the creator and founder of Easy Energy Wellness. My mission is to help busy women, busy moms lose weight, gain energy, and reverse type 2 diabetes naturally. I'm not a doctor, a dietitian, or a nutritionist. I am a certified health coach. Join me on Facebook in my group at Easy Energy Accelerator. Follow me on Instagram at easy.energy.wellness and on TikTok at Desiree Gaffley. Click the description box to download your free guide. It is absolutely free, but it will help you on your way. So please subscribe to my channel. Today, I want to talk to you about when the liver does not use insulin well. So how does the liver not use insulin well? What makes the liver resistant to insulin? These are the questions we will be answering for you as we go on our way. Insulin resistance, also known as impaired insulin sensitivity, happens when cells in your muscles, fat, and liver don't respond as they should to insulin, a hormone your pancreas makes that is essential for life and regulating blood glucose, your sugar levels in your bloodstream. It is now commonly accepted that chronic inflammation associated with visceral obesity induces insulin resistance in the liver. Can the liver be insulin resistant? Insulin resistance is the pathophysiological mark of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. It's one of the most common causes of chronic liver disease in the Western countries. The liver both stores and manufactures glucose depending upon the body's need. The need to store or release glucose is primarily signaled by the hormones insulin and glucagon. During a meal, your liver will store sugar or glucose as glycogen for a later time when your body needs it. So how do you reduce glucose in your liver? One method to inhibit glucose release by the liver is to increase its storage as glycogen. The liver plays a major role in the metabolism of insulin, but the precise cellular mechanisms, the enzymes involved, and the products generated have only recently become clarified. So does insulin take glucose to the liver? During a meal, insulin stimulates glucose storage by the liver as glycogen. The insulin released from the liver acts on muscle tissue to stimulate glucose uptake. So how does the liver take in glucose? The liver receives dietary carbohydrates directly from the intestine via the portal vein. Glucose enters the cell to be metabolized. One method to inhibit glucose release by the liver is to increase its storage as glycogen. In diabetic patients, glycogen synthesis is impaired. How do I stop my liver from dumping glucose? Not eating carbohydrate snacks before bed to stop the liver from dumping glucose, especially during the night. What is the liver? Why does insulin affect the liver? How does insulin affect the liver? So after a meal, insulin tells the liver to package and secrete excess nutrients into triglyceride-rich lipid particles into the blood for use by the rest of the body. Insulin stimulates the liver to store glucose in the form of glycogen. The liver both stores and manufactures glucose depending upon the body's need. The need to store or release glucose is primarily signaled by the hormones insulin and glucagon. During a meal, your liver will store sugar or glucose as glucagon for a later time when your body needs it. Low levels of insulin constantly circulate throughout the body. A spike in insulin signals the liver that a person's blood glucose level is also high, causing the liver to absorb glucose and change it into glycogen. Supply of the vital nutrients is carried through the bloodstream to many of the body cells. The liver produces, stores, and releases glucose depending on what the body's needs are. Insulin is a hormone made by the pancreas that helps glucose in your blood enter cells in your muscle, your fat, and liver, where it is used for energy. Glucose comes from the food you eat. The liver also makes glucose in times of need, such as when you're fasting. The liver primarily uses fatty acid oxidation for energy. Muscle cells use fatty acids, glucose, and amino acids as energy sources. If your blood sugar drops too low in the middle of the night while you are sleeping, your body will release hormones in an attempt to rescue you from a dangerously low blood sugar. The hormones do this by prompting your liver to release stored glucose in larger amounts than usual. The pancreas produces insulin. Insulin production is regulated based on blood sugar levels and other hormones in the body. In a healthy individual, insulin production and release are a tightly regulated process, allowing the body to balance its metabolic needs. Does fatty liver produce more glucose? In people with fatty liver, overproduction of glucose could lead to type 2 diabetes, irrespective of hormonal changes. The most important hormone that the pancreas produces is insulin. Insulin is released by the beta cells in response to food. Its role is to lower glucose levels in the bloodstream and promote the storage of glucose in fat, muscle, liver, and other body tissues. The liver is the main organ controlling blood glucose by releasing newly synthesized or stored glucose in the bloodstream when blood glucose is low, using and storing glucose when blood glucose is elevated. These processes are regulated by hormones, in particular insulin, glucagon, and the epinephrine. Without insulin, your body will break down its own fat and muscle, resulting in weight loss. And this is dangerous. This can lead to serious short-term condition called diabetic ketoacidosis. This is when the bloodstream becomes acidic. You develop dangerous levels of ketones in your bloodstream and become severely hydrated. Glucose is a simple sugar, provides energy for cell functions. After food is digested, the pancreas secretes insulin, which directs the muscle and fat cells to taking glucose. Cells obtain energy from glucose or convert it into fat for long-term storage. If a person takes too much insulin or takes it when they do not need it, it can be fatal. Occasionally, a person will use insulin as an attempt to take their life. If a person shows signs of severe depression or suicidal thoughts, they or a loved one should seek medical help or contact the National Suicide Helpline as soon as possible. 3 important functions of the liver. Some of the more well-known functions include the following. Production of bile, which helps carry away waste and break down fats in the small intestine during digestion. Production of certain proteins for blood plasma, and production of cholesterol and special proteins to help carry fats through the body. An influx of sugar from foods like fine grains, sugary snacks, and sweetened drinks forces your liver to rapidly convert and store glucose. Because the brain is so rich in nerve cells or neurons, it is the most energy-demanding organ, using 1/2 of all the sugar energy in the body. Brain functions such as thinking, memory, and learning are closely linked to glucose levels and how efficiently the brain uses this fuel source. Why is my blood sugar so high when I'm not eating any carbs? While protein typically has very little effect on blood glucose in the absence of carbohydrates, such as low-carb meals or insulin, it can raise blood glucose. So portion control should be exercised with protein consumption, especially if you are diabetic. Why is my blood sugar so high when I'm not eating any carbs? Try to go 12 hours without eating. Say you eat breakfast at 8 o'clock and stop eating at 8 at night. If you start eating at 9, stop eating at 10. This will help you with your blood sugar levels not going too high during the night. So why does your blood sugar go up without eating? To make sure that your brain doesn't like sugar, your liver will start releasing sugar, either from stored glycogen or by producing new sugar from molecules of protein. As a result, you can see a rise in your blood sugar levels, even if you haven't had anything to eat. So which organs react first when blood glucose falls? When blood sugar drops too low, the level of insulin declines and other cells in the pancreas release glucagon, which causes the liver to turn stored glucagon back into glucose and release it into the blood. This brings blood sugar levels back up to normal. What happens if the pancreas doesn't produce enough insulin? If your pancreas doesn't make enough insulin or your body doesn't use it effectively, glucose builds up in the bloodstream, leaving your cells starved for energy. When glucose builds up in your bloodstream, this is known as hyperglycemia. The symptoms of hyperglycemia include thirst, nausea, and shortness of breath. So at what A1C should you start being more concerned? Pre-diabetes start at 100 to 125. And post food, the glucose could be anywhere between 140 and 199. So an A1C of 5.7 to 6.7 should be noted, especially if you're 60 years or older. You have a BMI of 35 or greater, or have a history of gestational diabetes. Visit your doctor and get into a plan of action. Diabetes raises your risk of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, a condition in which excess fat builds up in the liver, even if you drink little or no alcohol. This condition occurs in at least half of those who are type 2 diabetic. It's a nice note of concern. So how do you remove fat from your liver? Aerobic exercise can actually cut the amount of fat in your liver. A heavy workout may also lower inflammation. Resistance or strength training exercises like weightlifting can also improve fatty liver disease. I'm referring back to my notes because I do want to get all this information to you. How do you get rid of excess sugar in your liver? Thankfully, in most cases, by making a few changes to your lifestyle, we can repair and reverse any damage done to our liver by eating too much sugar. That's got to change, right? So by eating lots of vegetables and some fruits, because there are fruits that can spike your sugars as well, and exercising regularly, the liver will gradually regenerate. Drink lots of water. The liver plays a central role in this process by balancing the uptake and storage of glucose. The liver plays key roles in the regulation of glucose production. The liver primarily uses fatty acid oxidation for energy. Muscle cells use fatty acids, glucose, and amino acids as energy sources. Most cells use glucose, but there are other fuel molecules equally important for maintaining the body's equilibrium or homeostasis. So I'd like to share a couple of foods that are good for your liver. Believe it or not, coffee is one of the best beverages you can drink to promote liver health. Now, make sure that you understand what happens in your body because everyone is different. You know, tea is great, grapefruit is great, but just make sure there's no added sugar and test. Blueberries and cranberries. I love my blueberries. Be cautious with canned cranberries because most often we use those as added sugar and we do not want to do that. Prickly pear, beetroot juice is very good, and cruciferous vegetables. Type 2 diabetes responds differently to food sources. So it is essential to test 1 or 2 hours after eating or drinking. Try it, especially when you're trying something new. Test. So this test info will help you make better choices as your blood sugar should not spike more than 30 points. Leave a comment below and let me know if this was useful to you and if you would like to have more videos like this. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Check the description box for more information. Have a beautiful, healthy week. Goodbye for now.